He spun tales of $1 stocks, amassed millions, and walked free after just 22 months in federal prison. Later, Hollywood immortalized his audacious crimes into a blockbuster hit. This is the incredible saga of Jordan Belfort, the financial rogue who outsmarted America and engineered his comeback, wealthier than ever. The most astonishing part? A significant number of people still idolize him. Queens, New York, 1962. A modest, blue-collar Jewish community where aspirations were grounded and ambition often found its limit. Yet one young man, Jordan Belfort, refused to acknowledge any ceiling. "One lemon ice, please." For you, it's a 2-for-1, but only if you spread the word to 3 friends. You're what, 12? 16, and I'm destined for immense wealth. By summer's close, he'd pocketed $20,000 selling Italian ices. At 16, most teens would splurge on a sports car. Jordan? He enrolled in dentistry school. On the very first day, the dean declared, "If your goal is riches, you've chosen the wrong profession." Jordan rose, gave a slight nod, and exited, just like that. Because his purpose wasn't to mend smiles. He was there to accumulate vast wealth, and dental school was clearly not the avenue. His next venture? Meat. After college, Jordan launched a door-to-door meat and seafood enterprise. Yes, truly. "Excuse me, you're selling what now?" "USDA Prime, ma'am. Flash frozen, hormone-free, and more affordable than your local butcher." "I don't consume red meat." "Splendid. Allow me to present our exquisite premium salmon fillets." It was a chaotic, unpolished, but surprisingly lucrative operation. Generating $100,000 in monthly sales, despite no delivery trucks, no proper storage, no real plan, just Jordan, relentlessly hustling, grinding, and defrosting steaks on his back seat. Delayed deliveries, spoiled inventory, and mountains of unpaid invoices. The chaos quickly overwhelmed him. Within months, the business declared bankruptcy. But amidst the rubble, Jordan unearthed what would become his greatest asset, his extraordinary sales ability. The product was irrelevant. Steaks, surfboards, stocks. He could persuade anyone to buy anything. And just like that, a formidable salesman was born. Jordan didn't need a superior product. He sought a bigger payoff. Enter Wall Street. Jordan secured an entry-level position at L.F. Rothschild, a reputable firm complete with tailored suits, demanding quotas, and illicit substances in the restrooms. It was the 1980s, after all. Here, he experienced his first taste of genuine wealth, rampant greed, and undeniable influence. He mastered the intricacies of market movements, the persuasive language of brokers, and, critically, their selling techniques. Then, unexpectedly, October 1987 arrived. Black Monday. The phones fell silent. Brokers watched the plummeting ticker in horror. The markets crashed. Jordan was let go. But while others despaired, Jordan perceived something different, an opportunity. He discovered penny stocks, obscure over-the-counter securities no reputable broker would touch. Unregulated, illiquid. But here lay the allure. 50% commissions. The same sales pitch, 10 times the earnings. No advanced degrees required. Just a working phone and a sharp tongue. So Jordan picked up the receiver, dialing a stranger in Nebraska. "Hello, Mr. Michael. Please listen closely. This company is currently small. Yes, but it possesses a groundbreaking technology poised to revolutionize the entire home entertainment sector. I'm describing a ground floor investment opportunity, pre-IPO, completely off Wall Street's radar. The major players haven't even detected this one yet. But when they do, boom, we're talking a minimum 10x return. You invest now at $1 a share, and in 6 months you won't be calling to thank me. You'll be calling me from your luxurious beach house in Maui. So here's our plan. I'm securing you for 4,000 shares. Does that sound good?" I'm not entirely sure I grasp the company's operations." "You don't need to comprehend the company, sir. You merely need to understand the immense potential upside. That's what astute investors do. They act before the masses catch on. So, do you wish to be among the first? Or would you prefer to read about it in Forbes a year from now, lamenting, "If only I'd listened"? And just like that, he closed a $4,000 deal with a single phone call. No strict rules, no oversight, no breaks, just relentless cold calls and pure adrenaline. He had found his domain, and he was poised to construct an empire. Jordan Belfort was already planning his next move. And this time, he wouldn't be alone. Enter Danny Porush, a quick-witted, drug-addled renegade from Long Island with the persuasive charm of a seasoned salesman and the raw instincts of a street hustler. He wasn't from Wall Street, and some days it felt like he wasn't from this planet, but he could close deals. And Jordan recognized something vital in him: hunger, unwavering loyalty, and relentless drive. Together, they were a formidable force. Jordan supplied the vision. Danny brought the unrestrained energy. And from that synergy, they forged their empire. Introducing Stratton Oakmont. The name exuded prestige, suggesting a venerable century-old legacy and leather-bound archives. In reality, it was a modest strip mall boiler room with flickering fluorescent lights, mismatched office furniture, and precisely zero regulatory scrutiny. The initial recruits weren't analysts. They weren't even qualified professionals. They were bartenders, college dropouts, and local entrepreneurs. But Jordan didn't desire experience. He craved raw ambition. He didn't need strategists. He needed closers. Then came the rigorous training. Jordan devised a methodology he termed straight-line persuasion, a psychological intensity designed to transform hesitant rookies into high-pressure sales machines. He instructed them to aggressively overcome hesitation, drown out client doubt, and guide a prospect from initial greeting to payment details in a single, uninterrupted flow. Soon, the office developed a distinct rhythm: fast-paced, loud, and highly addictive. Phones rang incessantly. Orders poured in continuously. The atmosphere was electrifying. Egos swelled, and the money multiplied. But Stratton's true genius lay not just in its selling methods, but in its target audience. They specifically sought the overlooked investors, the working-class retirees, the desperate parents, the individuals Wall Street had disregarded. Stratton offered them hope, cloaked in urgency, presented with deceptive certainty, and supported by fabricated projections. Initially, it involved obscure penny stocks, low-value securities with names like BZZT or YU, companies that barely existed beyond their own promotional materials. But once the funds began to flow, the schemes grew more sophisticated. It wasn't just fictitious companies anymore. It involved legitimate IPOs. They acquired enormous blocks of inexpensive shares, then transformed the sales floor into an explosive hype factory. Call after call, promise after promise. They flooded the market with manufactured excitement, inflated the stock price, and then liquidated their holdings at the peak, leaving thousands of investors with worthless shares. This tactic was known as a pump and dump. But at Stratton Oakmont, it was simply another Tuesday. By the early 90s, the firm had undergone explosive growth. Stratton was more than a brokerage. It was a spectacle. The office, a whirlwind of shouting brokers, air horns, rampant testosterone, $2,000 suits, and enough illicit drugs to sedate a rhinoceros. Jordan had constructed a system where fear and loyalty were paramount. Top performers were treated like royalty, showered with bonus checks, luxury vacations, even expensive watches casually tossed across the office like candy. Underperformers were humiliated, dismissed without ceremony, and replaced within hours. And then came the infamous parties. Strippers in the conference room, champagne overflowing into fax machines, lines of cocaine consumed directly from compliance manuals. Nothing was sacred. Not the furniture, not the company vehicles, not even the fire extinguishers. One was once famously filled with whipped cream and tequila. Jordan had officially transformed into a cult leader in designer suits. He purchased a helicopter. He christened his yacht after his wife, Naomi. He owned multiple mansions, Lamborghinis, and a collection of Rolexes. And throughout it all, he delivered the same unwavering sermon. Success is everything, and if you're not winning, you're irrelevant. On paper, Stratton Oakmont appeared to be thriving. They facilitated company IPOs. They raised hundreds of millions. The firm expanded at an unbelievable pace. But beneath the gleaming facade, it was all an illusion. Because when the truth isn't profitable, you sell the dream. And Jordan Belfort had forged an empire by doing precisely that. By 1994, Stratton Oakmont was a force to be reckoned with, spearheading company IPOs, orchestrating multi-million-dollar deals, and garnering national attention. Yet, beneath the veneer of success, the foundation was beginning to crumble. The firm's IPO strategy was aggressive, familiar, and increasingly reckless. The same playbook: inflate the stock, overpromise the dream, and cash out before the inevitable crash. But this time, they were no longer operating in the shadows. The SEC had identified a growing number of suspicious filings. A deluge of complaints poured in from investors who bought shares at $7 and then watched their investments plummet to 30 cents. Internally, some brokers began to voice concerns. They were aggressively promoting stocks with no discernible revenue, no tangible product, sometimes no even active phone number. Management's ruthless response: close the deal or be fired. And as the firm expanded, so did the complexity of concealing the illicit funds. Millions were laundered offshore through an intricate network of shell companies. Some accounts were held under Jordan's aunt's name in the UK. Others were discreetly placed in Geneva under fictitious company names. At one point, Jordan resorted to moving funds via couriers, including a housekeeper smuggling cash-stuffed envelopes sewn into her brassiere. Jordan dubbed it asset protection. The FBI labeled it money laundering. Within the firm, the atmosphere deteriorated. Drug use, once a perk, became a grim necessity. Quaaludes impaired their speech, while cocaine jolted them back to hyperactivity. Employees passed out during critical calls. One broker suffered a seizure directly on the sales floor. Fights erupted over commissions, women, or simply from excessive testosterone. At least 2 employees were physically removed after violent altercations. And Jordan himself was spiraling faster than the firm. His marriage was crumbling. His wife would discover pills in the sofa cushions, syringes in the bathroom. He once crashed his Ferrari into a concrete pillar while intoxicated on Quaaludes, with his 3-year-old daughter in the passenger seat. Then came the infamous yacht incident. In June 1996, disregarding the captain's warnings, Jordan insisted they sail from Italy to Sardinia during a violent storm. He was inebriated, high, and convinced of his invincibility. The Naomi began taking on water in the treacherous Tyrrhenian Sea. Aboard were Jordan, his wife, their daughter, and over $2 million in jewelry and narcotics. They ultimately required rescue by the Italian Navy. The yacht was utterly destroyed. Jordan survived, but a part of him was irrevocably lost. Back in New York, the net was tightening. Journalists from Forbes and the Wall Street Journal had started investigating. Former employees were cooperating with authorities, but the most dangerous threat was Gregory Coleman, a dedicated agent with the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Coleman didn't just notice red flags. He sensed a massive criminal enterprise. He meticulously began constructing a detailed timeline. He acquired Stratton's cold call scripts, subpoenaed wire transfer records, and tracked extravagant real estate purchases that didn't align with reported income. He discovered Jordan was routinely withdrawing cash in $50,000 increments through cashier's checks, subsequently laundered through casinos and art galleries. Coleman understood the implications. Eventually, so did Jordan. What Jordan remained unaware of was that some of his own brokers had turned informant. One had been apprehended on a separate fraud charge. Another felt betrayed by an unpaid bonus. They wore covert wires, recorded incriminating calls, and handed over volumes of evidence. As the pressure intensified, more defected, not out of moral conviction, but for self-preservation. Then came October 1996. Federal agents raided Stratton Oakmont. They arrived just after sunrise. Phones were ripped from desks. Filing cabinets were emptied. Hard drives were copied. Employees were interrogated. Someone attempted to flush documents down a toilet. Another tried to leave with a briefcase brimming with shredded contracts. It was futile. The FBI possessed all the necessary evidence. But Jordan still wasn't finished. In early 1997, while under active investigation and explicitly forbidden from moving funds, he wired $2 million to Switzerland. The transaction was traced. The conversation about it had been recorded. That singular transfer became the crucial thread that unraveled everything. The pursuit was over, and the inevitable downfall had commenced. By late 1998, Belfort had exhausted his options. The FBI had the incriminating recordings. The SEC had the damning filings. The empire he built on aggressive cold calls and deceptive promises had finally crumbled. And now, it was his turn to face justice. He was looking at up to 30 years in federal prison. Charges of wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. The sheer weight of the charges alone could have buried him. So Jordan did what he always excelled at. He sold. Not stocks, but crucial information. He cooperated fully. He became an informant. He wore a wire, and one by one, the individuals who once revered him were delivered to the authorities like mere receipts. Over 30 employees were indicted. Brokers, partners, even close friends. Some of them had joined Stratton directly out of high school. They learned the art of selling from Jordan. They meticulously followed his playbook, and now they were paying the price. Some served more prison time than he did. Jordan, however, received 22 months in a minimum security facility. No fences, no conventional cells. The guards didn't even carry firearms. He played tennis in the mornings, engaged in weightlifting in the afternoons, and at night, he wrote. That's where he encountered Tommy Chong, the renowned comedian from Cheech and Chong, who was serving time for selling bongs online. Jordan recounted his entire story: the drugs, the infamous yacht, the cash-filled envelopes, the audacious lies that defined his lifestyle. Tommy wasn't outraged, he was entertained. Document it, he advised. So Jordan did. In 2007, he published The Wolf of Wall Street, a memoir that read more like a celebratory lap than a sincere confession. There were no apologies, no expressions of remorse, just yachts, lavish orgies, elaborate fraud, and witty punchlines. The public devoured it. He sold the film rights, he penned a sequel, and in 2013, Martin Scorsese and Leonardo DiCaprio transformed it into a global cinematic sensation. The very man who defrauded countless investors was now captivating them on the silver screen. Audiences erupted in laughter. Critics offered their applause. And Jordan Belfort, a convicted felon, a former fraudster, became an undeniable pop culture icon. But the individuals he exploited, they didn't secure movie deals. They didn't find closure. Most never recovered their hard-earned money. A teacher who lost her retirement savings. A war veteran who invested his entire life savings. A family who remortgaged their home believing in the next big thing. They were left burdened with debt, with nothing but shattered dreams. The court mandated Jordan to pay $110 million in restitution. To this day, only a fraction of that amount has been paid. The remainder disappeared into offshore accounts, complex real estate trusts, and legal loopholes. He asserts he's working on it. The victims are still patiently waiting. But Jordan, he's thriving. He's now a sought-after motivational speaker, a successful sales coach, a popular podcast host. He peddles success, teaches ethical principles, booking stages worldwide. He proudly wears the moniker The Wolf as if it were a badge of honor, not the indelible scar it truly represents. He didn't merely evade justice, he monetized it. He transformed 22 months of incarceration into a lucrative book deal. He transmuted fraud into widespread fame. And perhaps the most unsettling aspect is that we, collectively, celebrated it. I was guilty of being greedy, he once stated, But so is everyone else. Perhaps that's precisely why he got away with it. Because deep down, we never truly desired his punishment. We secretly yearned to be him,